So, hello everyone, and welcome to the webinar. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you all for joining and taking the time today. So, today Tyler will demo Toppal, which is a tool specifically built for Sharetribe marketplaces. Today you'll learn how it works, how to use it to create affiliate marketing programs for your marketplace, and use it as part of your marketplace overall growth strategy. So, before we dive into the agenda today, I would like to quickly introduce myself and Tyler. So my name is Ifan. Some of you may have interacted with me at some point through the community, by video call, email, or the chat widget in your admin console. My role at Sharetribe is to help marketplace founders like yourselves to get the most out of the platform, the features and the tools, and how to build your marketplace the best way possible. Occasionally, I also do some testing and documenting of new features and third-party tools like Toppal, like in this case. Now I'll hand it over to Tyler to introduce himself and our agenda. Go ahead, Tyler.
Cool. Thanks, Afan. Yeah, so super excited to be on here today to present to you Toppal and do a walkthrough of the platform. A little bit about myself. I built my own marketplace on Sharetribe. That's how I started with this project. I saw a gap in the market firsthand for an affiliate marketing solution. I previously worked and spent a lot of time in the e-commerce space, working with different Shopify apps and things like this, where there are plenty of these solutions available. And after doing some research, I realized that these things don't exist for marketplaces. So I focused all my time and energy into this. I really want to just help marketplaces acquire new providers, sellers, and customers through a measurable growth channel. So we'll take you over to what we'll cover today. So we'll skip the introductions, but we'll touch on why marketplaces struggle to grow, touching on a few of the challenges that some of you will be familiar with. And then we'll touch on what Toppal does and how we can tackle some of those challenges. And then we'll get into the live demo. And then hopefully at the end, you guys will have some questions that we can spend some time answering and talking about next steps. So when looking at the marketplace growth challenge, we all know that launching a marketplace is hard, but then also growing it from that point becomes often harder and it's not easier. So looking at a few of these challenges here, this is the kind of the number one challenge I think most people are familiar with, is the chicken and egg problem. It's also known as without buyers, you're not going to have any sellers, and without sellers, you won't have any buyers. So it's kind of a two-way street that you're struggling to grow, and you don't sort of always know where to start. And then also from a trust point of view, often this has quite a slow thing that you need to build up. By having more stock on your platform, obviously you can build trust, but there's a balance of getting to that position at the first place. So the next challenge comes to growth. So once you've tackled the classic chicken and egg problem or the cold start problem, growth is the next thing. So CAC or CAC is customer acquisition cost. This is usually how we would measure how much your customers cost to acquire them on your platform. So typically using traditional digital channels like Facebook or Instagram, Google Ads, often you're paying for impressions. So that could be like clicks and views and things like that. What you don't always have visibility of is how much you're actually paying per customer that actually activates. So in some cases, I've seen some businesses spending hundreds, if not thousands a day on these types of advertisements without any sort of results. And with that, obviously, is saturation. So with these traditional channels, they often are very competitive. So you're paying for that competitive space. And then you have churn. So once you actually acquire some of these customers, they might come to your site, they might sign up, but they don't ever convert. So they're never actually activated. So often you're paying for customers that will come to your marketplace, but they never make a purchase or a sale. And so the third part is looking at the growth channel that already exists on your platform. So if you are an established marketplace, you will have happy customers that want to refer friends or family or people within the network. This is often your sort of highest trust network, and it's the lowest cost to you because you're able to set that limit of what you're willing to pay per customer. And I can touch on that more in the actual demo. The other side is the creators and influencers. So within your niche, you may have influencers or ambassadors and things that want to talk about your product or your marketplace, so you can reach out to them to promote. And that could be whether you're trying to drive new providers on your platform to increase stock, or if you're trying to increase sales on your platform, you can use any of these methods through affiliate marketing. And then, to that point, you only pay when it works. So you determine how you want to pay affiliates based on the activities that they're driving. So in the programs, you can choose whether you want to drive signups, for example, or if you want to drive real transactions. So introducing Toppal. So as Irfan introduced us, it's an affiliate marketing platform built specifically for Sharetribe marketplaces. What affiliate marketing means, it basically allows you to launch programs within minutes. So this could be a referral, affiliate, or influencer program. You don't need to build any of the tracking yourself. It's all built within Sharetribe and Toppal. You can track every referral. So every single referral that you make or your affiliates make on your platform, we will have the sign up and transactions linked back to the affiliate who drove it. So you can see all that detail inside of Toppal. And then you can also pay out your affiliates automatically. If you're set up with our integration with Tremendous, you can choose the types of rewards and things that you send to your affiliates without asking for any bank details or anything like that. And it's all self-serve and native. So once you have the integration set up, you're free to configure your platform and get started. So how it works, this is the sort of the high level 4-step process. So you'd start with the program. This is where you define the types of commissions and things that you want to reward to your affiliates, like the different rules. And then the second step is your affiliates will enroll. So based on the program type, you may automatically enroll affiliates, which I'll show in the demo, or you may create custom programs specific for certain types of influencers that have, a different set of rules, for example. And then every single referral that comes through, as I mentioned, we will attribute those transactions and signups to those affiliates. And then the last step is to pay the affiliates, which you can do through Tremendous. So the name Toppal actually came from topple over, like the domino effect. So I really like this slide to show how the referral journey works. So you kind of start the path with a happy user. They may have completed a purchase or maybe a sale, depending on how you set up your program. And then they refer their friend with their link or their code. And then the friend will receive it, and then they'll pass it on to 2 of their friends. And then those people will pass it on to 2 of their friends, and so on and so on. You can see how kind of big this could grow. And the other thing that's worth mentioning as well, within each of these rules, you can set limits within the referral rules. So for example, if you only want to pay out an affiliate for someone who refers 1 or 2 users at a time, you're in full control of how those programs are set up. And so now I'll take us over to the live demo. So I will start here at the sign up page. To find the sign up page, you can either go into your Sharetribe console, and if you come down to integrations, and then third-party integrations, you'll find Toppal here. Otherwise, you can go to our website, which we can share after this. So once you come to the sign up, we'll just enter some basic details. And then we will sign in with a password. If you have a Google account, you can also do that here as well. And then once I sign in, of course, it's a demo, so it's going to go slower than usual. I will just grab the code and I'll verify my email. Now, once you've done that, you'll be asked to set up your organization name. So I'll just add my one here, Toppal Demo, and then you can upload an image of your company. So I'll just add one here. And once you've done that, you'll be taken to the first of the onboarding steps. So here you can choose between 3 different plan options. I won't go into all the details about each of these plans, but if you have questions afterwards, feel free to reach out and we can talk about those. For this demo, I'm just going to start with the Pro plan. There's no card required. You can simply just start the free trial and then we can continue. And then we'll ask a few questions about the type of marketplace you run, whether it's products, services, rentals, experiences, or if you have any others, we'd love to hear about them. Here you can just fill out some details relevant to your marketplace. So now we come to the marketplace integration step. So here, the first thing it requires is the marketplace sign up page URL. So this is where we actually track referrals to your marketplace. So simply all you need to do is come to your live marketplace. If I just log out here and go to the sign up page, we'll just copy this link here and then paste it in. Now this will ask you just to ensure that this link will open your sign up page so we can see that the referrer ID that we use to track the referrals is in this example URL. So just confirm that that opens the correct link. And then we can select the currency. So in this case, I'll just do British pound, but you have all the other currencies available, similar to what you would see in Sharetribe as well. And then so for your client ID and client secret, some of you may be familiar with this already, but you can go down to build in your console and then applications, and then you can just add a new application. If you like, you can just call it Toppal and then select the integration API. That's the one that we would use for Toppal. In this case, I've already created the client ID and secret, so I'm just going to copy and paste that in now. And once that is done, we will check that that is a success from Sharetribe, so we can see that is now connected. The next step is to set up the referral source. So this is where Toppal will track the affiliate codes that come through on those links. Now, there are some marketplaces that may have multiple user types. Sometimes there will just be one. So in this example, I'm just going to use the one. And if you come down to your user type and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see this new feature here that has just been released called referral sources. Once you select that, you can just name it Toppal. And then we have the referrer ID that would copy into here as well. And then you just save. And once that is saved, we can just confirm that we have set up that in the step here. And the next step will ask whether you are on a Lite, Pro, or Extend plan. So the differences in these is if you're on the Lite or Pro plan, you'll use the standard Sharetribe web template. So you'll automatically have the updated code to support the referral feature. If you're on an Extend plan, you'll just need to double check that you're on the latest web template. If you're not, we have the code available here that you can pull from GitHub, or you can alternatively paste the code manually if you've got a developer that would like to do that. In this case, we're just using the Lite Pro template, so we'll start with that. And that is the onboarding steps complete. So essentially that's your integration set up. So everything is connected to Sharetribe. The next step is to set up your programs, customize your emails and forms, and other third-party templates as well. If I just continue on to the dashboard. So when you first log in, you'll see the number of days left in your trial period, and then we can see the Get Started guide. So we've already chose the plan and we've connected Sharetribe. So the next step is to add default branding. So if we just select this, we can go to the customize page and we can upload an image. So again, I'll just upload an image here. And then if you like, you can change the color to match your branding. So I'll change that to a different purple, and we'll leave the secondary color as it is. Now, updating the default branding will just apply the branding across all your emails and forms that are customer facing. But you also have the ability to customize the emails and forms on an individual basis as well if you want to make any specific changes. So once that is saved, we can come back to the dashboard and the default branding action is complete. So next we'll come to the programs. So by default, everyone will always have an auto-enrollment program. What this auto-enrollment program means is that every time a customer of yours makes a purchase or a sale, they can be automatically enrolled into a program. So we will only create an affiliate in Toppal if they have successfully confirmed a transaction. So if it's in a pending status or waiting to be received, any of these statuses, we won't automatically create the affiliate. But as soon as everything is confirmed, we'll send them a link or an email with their link so that they can start sharing it with their friends and family. This is where you'll really find a lot of the value out of Toppal. But you also have the option to create custom programs if you want to have an influencer program, for example, where you don't want every single user being added. You might have specific rules and things for that. But today I'll just touch on the auto enrollment program and how to set this up. For the qualification triggers, we can choose when affiliates should earn payouts. So if you are a new marketplace, for example, and you just want people to sign up and create stock, you can drive these users by rewarding affiliates to refer people who sign up. Or if you're an existing established marketplace and you really want to start driving transactions, whether that be sales or purchases, you can use transactions. And now when I select transactions, you'll notice that the payout type provides two separate options. So when you use a transaction type, you can choose whether you want to do a percentage-based payout. So this would be a subtotal of the transaction, so the GMV. So this would be less any fees or shipping and things like that. So let's say it was a pair of socks or something like that, and the cost was $100, and you offered a 10% payout, then you would offer the affiliate $10 for that referral transaction. To keep it simple, I'm just going to use it as fixed, and I'll just set the payout value to 10, and we'll make this an active program as well, meaning it is live. And so with the advanced program features, you have the ability to set a max referral limit. So for example, the number of referrals per affiliate in the program. So if you only wanted people to refer up to 3 people, that means the maximum that they could earn in this case is £30 or $30, depending on which currency you work in. The max transaction limit per referral means it's essentially how many transactions you're willing to refer per user to how many transactions they make. Typically, you would set this to 1. If you do that, we'll still track all of the sales through Toppal, so you can see how much your affiliates are generating, but you may only want to reward them for 1 transaction per referral. And then the minimum transaction value is the subtotal amount again, so that's just the net cost of the gross cost of the product or service that you offer on the marketplace. So in this case, we'll just set that to 100 and save. And now with that done, I'll go through the configuration options. So your affiliate sign-up page, application page, you'll have one of these per program. You have the option to add some copy. So in this case, I'll just add this earn, and then we have variables here. So we can add the payout type, for example, which will dynamically display the value here, so you don't have to constantly update these. And then we'll say join our program today. If you have specific terms and conditions on your website that you wanted to add here, you could also add those details here. And we'll simply just save that form. And so the last step of the customization is to activate the emails. So if we come here, by default, they're all disabled. So your customers won't receive emails unless you come here and specifically activate them. I won't go through all the customization options, but you can see you can update the copy. It comes with some default text, which you're welcome to change. And then as well, if you wanted to change the default branding, if you wanted to create specific images and things for your emails, then you're welcome to change that here as well. We'll just save that template, and then we'll go back and we'll just enable all 3 of these. So the next step is to configure the third-party integrations. Here you have options to connect your email. So if you want to send the affiliate emails via your own email domain, you can customize that here. Otherwise, it will use the Toppal email address. It's relatively straightforward to set up. I'm not going to go through all the details today, but you can add your domain, your from name, email address, and then you can choose the sending region as well. So if you're based in a different region, you can change that there. Once you connect your domain, it'll simply just ask you to update your DNS settings. So depending on which provider you're with, you'll just need to do that. It usually takes they usually say up to 48 hours to propagate, but usually it's quicker than that. So there is a verify button once you connect that, and you can just verify that your email is connected before sending anything out. And then we come to Tremendous. So with Tremendous, it's relatively straightforward to connect. This is our payout provider. So Tremendous will allow you to send rewards to your affiliates without asking for any of their bank details or anything like that. We already have the affiliate's email address that's automatically synced via Sharetribe and with the sign-up forms where we collect them. So simply with our Tremendous integration, the email is sent to the rewards, and then the rewards themselves are maintained in Tremendous application. In order to set up, there's the steps here. If you just go to the sign-up page, it will ask you some details about yourself, and then you'll need to fill out some details about your company. The one caveat I will say about Tremendous is if you are a new marketplace and you don't have your website created or you don't have active customers and things like that, they have their own process for approving companies onto their platform, as it is a financial services platform. So just make sure that if you are applying for your Tremendous account that you have, the correct things in place before submitting it. But essentially, once you complete the Tremendous onboarding process, you'll come to a dashboard that looks like this. It won't cost you anything, by the way, except for some of the fees when sending the rewards, but I'll touch on those in a minute. Essentially, you will have a balance that you can update and you can add funds to. And then if you come to your campaigns, you can create a new campaign. And then once you come to the campaign, you can see here that there's literally thousands of different options that you can reward your affiliates with. So some of the typical ones would be prepaid gift cards. So that would be like a Visa card, for example. Other options would be to send bank transfer. So this is where there are some fees that would incur. So I would recommend looking at this, whether you want to take on the fee or pass the fee to recipients. So this is usually for options like bank transfer, for example. I'll do it in GBP so that we match our setup. And then once you click continue, similar to Toppal, you'll have the option to customize the email. So when you send rewards through Toppal, your customers receive an email that will look like this, saying you've been sent a reward from company name, and they can go through the process to redeem that amount. Once that is done, we can just add the name. So in this case, we'll call it Demo Toppal, and we'll save. And then the next steps, once you're in here, if we follow the instructions in Toppal, we've created the campaign, we've added funds already, and then we just need to add the Tremendous API key. So to do that, you just come down to Team Settings and Developers, and then you can just simply generate an API key. Now I've already done that on my end, so I'll just copy and paste the one that I already have, put it into there. And then you'll see that we can select the campaign template. So we just created this one, Demo Toppal V2. So I'll select that one, and I'll select the funding source. And then that's it. Once it's connected, you're ready to send payouts with Toppal. So now I'll go through the process of actually showing you how the auto enrollment program works. If we come over to the affiliates tab, we'll see that there are currently no affiliates in our marketplace. But what I'll do is I'll sign up as a new user. And at the moment, I don't have an affiliate code. I've just signed up as a net new user. I'll search the marketplace. I can see that there's a product for sale. I'll purchase one of these. And I will fill in just some test details. And I'll confirm and pay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the affiliates won't automatically enroll until the transaction has been in a confirmed status. So just for demo purposes, I'll find the transaction and I will move it into that state. So I'll mark it as delivered, and then I'll just say I've received my order. Cool. So now with the Toppal integration into Sharetribe, this will sync every 5 minutes. Because we're on a demo and we don't want to wait 5 minutes, I will do a manual sync of that now so you can see how it works. So I'm just running that synchronization now with Sharetribe. And now if we refresh this, we can see that 2 users have been added. And the reason why we have 2 users added, because the way that the program is configured, both the provider and the buyer will both be sent an affiliate link. So here we can see the affiliate's name, the email, how they've been enrolled through the auto-enrollment program. And now let's say this affiliate receives the email. They might copy the code. So if I show you what this email looks like, I'll pull this out here. Here we go. So just quickly, I'll show you what that email looks like here. You'll see that they receive the affiliate link. Once they copy that, they can share it to their friends and family. And let's say I'm a referred user that received this link. I'll simply come to the website again, and I will add my password again, and I'll sign up. And I'll similar to the process before. If I go to the product page, I purchase a product, I'll go through this process again, and I'll confirm and pay. And similar to before, I will just expedite the process by marking the product is received and delivered. And then if we come back to Toppal and I run the integration, we can now see that the user who referred user 2, we've calculated the GMV, the marketplace revenue, and the payouts. So if we come to the detailed view, here we can see that they referred a user who created a purchase. We also track whether that user's created any listings, any sales. You can see the total GMV, marketplace revenue, and the payout value. Now, if you wanted to go a level deeper, you can select this, and we can see the transaction ID that's come through from Sharetribe. We can see the role of that person, so whether they were a buyer or a seller. We can see the state from Sharetribe. So this is what we'll use to determine the confirmed status in Toppal. And then we can see whether they're eligible. So if the transaction had been under the limit that we set for £100, for example, then this transaction would be deemed as ineligible and there'd be no payout given to the affiliate. So now if we head over to the payouts, we will see that there is one ready payout available for that user. And if we go to actions, you can choose to pay or reject. Now, if there are multiple payouts, then these will be accumulated, and then you can send just one payout or reject one payout through this modal. If you wish to reject a payout, I mean, it's usually for things like, self-referrals, or if there was a refund, or potentially if there was a duplicate. I mean, some of these things do happen from time to time, so you're in complete control of when you pay out your affiliates. In this case, we will go ahead and pay the affiliate with the Tremendous integration. You can add internal a note, and then the payment method will just make sure that's selected on automated. And then once we send that, that will simply let us know that that payment has been sent. And then the affiliate will receive an email, which I can show you quickly. And that email will look something like this. And then simply to redeem that, they can select this. And then they'll be taken to a page where they can follow the steps within Tremendous to redeem that reward. And then, so within Toppal, if you wanted to view any payouts, you can go here, and you can always refer back to the transaction, the reference, and all this information is always stored against here as a receipt of that payout. So that takes us through the end-to-end demo. I hope that was helpful. Hopefully it's not too fast. I skipped over any things, but if you guys have any questions or thoughts, then obviously we'd love to hear
it. Thank you, Tyler. We do have a couple of questions. So first of all, how long is the free trial?
Yep. So the free trial is 30 days. Mm-hmm. And currently we don't ask for any card or anything up front. So feel free to sign up. No card required.
Okay, perfect. The second question was, if you'll be able to show which features won't be included in the cheapest pricing plan. I believe this person wanted some clarity in terms of what offer within each plan.
Yeah, so for the light plan, things that you won't have is the ability to remove Toppal branding from things like the sign-up forms and emails. They just belong on the footer of these emails and application pages. The other thing that you won't have is the advanced program features, so being able to set those limits and things like that. Within standard, you pretty much get all the features that I've shown, minus the ability to create some of the custom programs. You would also only get one team member, whereas with Pro, you get 3 team members, and then you get things like the ability to export reports. So if you wanted detailed like CSV files and things of all the transactions and affiliate data that goes through Toppal, then you would need to be on the Pro plan for that one.
Okay, great to know. Another question was, can affiliates just be rewarded with a percentage of what they generate from the marketplace, or is using Tremendous in addition to Toppal? Or I think what they meant here, do you have to use Tremendous on top of Toppal in this case to do the payouts?
No. So if you had a way that you wanted to send to your affiliates with a non-integrated solution, then you have the ability to send them manually. I mean, if you wanted to reach out to your affiliates to send them a bank transfer, or if you had another rewards program that you wanted to use, then that's certainly an option. Even if you had a way of offering them a credit, for example, you could do that via a manual payout option within Toppal.
Yeah, makes sense. In the demo, you showed a fixed payout, but I believe you can also pay out a percentage of the transaction value. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, I think I saw that question in there. So yeah, that percentage amount is if I come to the Sharetribe just to show you what that is. So if we look at the order breakdown here, the percentage value would be based on the subtotal that we see here. That subtotal would be less any of the fees, which would be your marketplace commission essentially, or any sort of like shipping and other costs or fees that you may add to that transaction.
All right, perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. So Darcy also had a question. Can the payout work for a recurring subscription? So in this instance, if a marketplace user pays a subscription fee to the marketplace, can Toppal work in that specific use case?
Yeah, so if they're paying for the marketplace as a subscription, you would use the sign-up feature rather than the transaction feature, unless you offered additional transactions underneath that subscription layer. I'll be interested to know the exact setup of that marketplace. I mean, we can definitely have a chat after this, but yeah, you would use the sign-up attribution feature to reward those affiliates.
Right. So for example, if a provider on the marketplace is paying $20 per month to access the marketplace, they can refer other providers, and then they get paid when these other providers also sign up and subscribe to the marketplace. Would that be?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and one of the ideas that we've had, we've had lots of really good feedback already since launching. One of the ideas was the ability to reward affiliates based on users creating listings. So we have all that information and data available in Toppal. It's just about building that functionality. So yeah, really cool.
All right, thank you for that. Michelle had a question. Would the setup for an influencer be the same as what you showed in the demo?
Yes, so with an influencer, you could add them to the exact same program as the auto-enrollment one. They may not be a customer, for example, but you could set them up by adding them manually or sending them the sign-up form. Obviously, they would have the exact same program rules as all of your customers. So if you wanted to create something a little bit more bespoke to them, if you wanted to negotiate the terms or how much you were going to pay them out per referral, then you'd want to create a custom program specifically for influencers.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think we have any more questions, so we can wrap up the webinar. Thank you everyone for joining. Tyler, how can people test out Toppal? And if they have further questions, what's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, so As I mentioned, you'll find us under the third-party integrations in the Sharetribe console. So feel free to click the link in there. You'll see our website with more details. You can start your 30-day free trial. I also will be on the community group. So I know there's a chat feature within there. If you want to reach out, simply just send me a message or send me an email at tyler@toppal.io.
All right. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. And again, thank you everyone for coming to this live webinar. Again, this is recorded, so we will be posting the recording after this to the community. So you can watch it back. And if any new questions come up, feel free to reach out to Tyler or to us at Sharetribe. We'll be happy to help you move forward.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Have a good rest of your day.